George showered, changed and sat down to enjoy a well-earned glass of wine, when he heard a dreadful shriek from the kitchen. "My God," he cried, "what's the matter?" "Where are the snails?" she bellowed. "What snails?" gasped George. "The edible snails from the delicatessen. They were top of my list." George bowed his head. He had lost the list at work and had bought everything from memory, but had forgotten the snails. "Can't we have something else as a starter instead?" he pleaded. Susie's face went bright red, and she picked up her sharpest carving knife and brandished it at him menacingly. "We could have sauté testicles, I suppose." "I'll get the snails now," screamed George, and ran out of the house as fast as he could. But would he make it to the shop in time before it closed? He sprinted down to the delicatessen, but he was too late. It was closed. In desperation, he hammered on the door, and the proprietor eventually opened an upstairs window to see what the commotion was about. "I'm sorry," said George, "but it's an emergency. I have come for the snails my wife ordered yesterday." "But I thought you no longer wanted it," said the shopkeeper. "I was told they would be collected today, so I sold them instead to the landlord of the pub." George did not tarry a second, but dashed off to the pub and eventually collared Charles, the pub owner, who luckily was a good acquaintance of his. "I really need to buy those snails off you," implored George. Charles took pity on him. He knew that Susie was a tough cookie and did not want one of his best customers in trouble. "Stay for a beer," he said, and he handed the snails over all carefully wrapped up. George sank into a comfy chair and sipped one pint. "At last I can relax," he mused. One pint followed another. George was enjoying the convivial company of friends so much better than stilted, polite small talk with tedious senior manager and boring vice president. Then he remembered the time and panic. "Oh my God," he said. "I must go." Dashed home. His phone rang, but he dare not answer. He could see it was his wife. A text soon followed, and he stopped to read it. "Where the hell are you? The guests are here. They are hungry. I need those snails now for the first course. If you haven't got a decent excuse, I'm going to see a solicitor in the morning to start divorce proceedings."
A bit dramatic.
What can I do?" gasped George. "What excuse can I possibly give?" Suddenly he perked up and ambled home in a drunken stupor. As he approached the front door, he took each of the 3 dozen snails carefully out of the packaging and placed them gently on the drive. He rang the doorbell. His wife came to the door. Her face incandescent with rage. "Well," she said, "I hope you've got a good excuse. Why are you so late?" Without further ado, George turned around and faced the snails, which were by now slithering along the drive. Waving his arms towards them, he cried out confidently, "Come on, lads, hurry up, we're nearly there."